Hi, it's been 4 years now since I did an update. I feel really bad about that. I'm going to give you the rundown of what's happened in the last 4 years in a nutshell. I'm kind of in a hurry that I think I got this thing to work. I think the speaker or I think the speaker and the microphone built into my laptop are messed up. So I've got my headset on and it's sitting right here. So hopefully you can actually hear me. I don't know. Um, in the last 4 years, my husband and I, we were in the process of adopting a baby. But when I did my last video, or adopting a child, we ended up adopting a 2.5-year-old girl that December. And then shortly after her adoption was finalized, which took about 2 years, it was a really complicated process. Her case was just that way. We ended up getting a divorce. So that's been about 2 years since we got divorced. And then last year, basically from the beginning of the year, in January, I was feeling like kind of down. I was like, you know what? I really have this feeling like I want a baby. I want to have a baby or adopt a baby, but I felt like at the time, like I'm not in a place to be able to adopt a baby. It's not going to happen. So I just kind of like pushed all that wanting a baby feeling aside and let it go for a little while, and it just kind of kept creeping up. Like I couldn't shake that feeling. Like I just was like, I really, really want a baby. Like I was kind of like looking at options, but realistically, I knew it was gonna be probably a year or two. And then in the middle of the year, last year, I got a phone call from the adoption agency my husband and I had went through, saying that my daughter's birth mom was pregnant and she was really hoping that we would be willing to adopt the baby. I told them that we were divorced and, I would be willing to do that. That was something I would definitely be interested in. But was it okay if, we're not together and whatever? And the birth mom was fine with that. So I looked into my options on that and found out it was really expensive. Like, I don't know, crazy. To me, it was $8,000. Well, a little bit more than that, but about that. That was a really large amount of money. So I kind of like looked at that and was not really sure that was gonna work. But actually, it was kind of a miracle because the money literally just fell in my lap within like probably 24 hours of finding out. Which I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll have to get another job, do something. But like the way that the money came about was really crazy. But I literally had the money within 24 hours. So I was really excited about that because that had been something that I was wanting to do. But she still had 5 months or so until the baby was actually going to be born, because the baby wasn't due until towards the end of the year. Um, Shortly after I found out about that, I started dating someone, which turned out to be nothing like the way that he presented himself. Basically just a really bad person who comes from a really bad family. I was working for his mother, and I was doing some web design work for her. So after I found out a bunch of the drama, she had already paid me, so I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna finish out my stuff, and then be like just done. But so he got arrested actually, like November 1st, and then November 2nd, his mother called me and was asking me if, instead of finishing the project, if I would be willing to just babysit her grandkids from her older daughter. They're 2 and 3. So I agreed and I went and picked them up and brought them to my house. And she's like, my daughter will call you. I gave her your number. She's gonna call you in a couple hours, and you guys can meet up and she'll get the kids and whatever. So I was like, okay, that's fine, no problem. That didn't end up happening. I didn't hear from her for like a couple days. Which at that I was kind of at a loss because I'm like, how do you not check on your kids after 2 days? Like that, I don't know. I would. So, and she really didn't know me. The mom had seen me maybe once, and she didn't really like meet me. She just had seen me once. And the kids had never seen me or anything, but they went with me willingly and were totally fine. and they never cried, like, to go with their mom or anything, like, which the whole thing was just really screwed up. But now they actually still live here. That was November 2nd of 2012. It is now August 12th, 2013, and they still live here, which I think that's about 8 or 9 months. I think maybe 9. It's been about 7 months since they've seen pretty much any of their family. There's actually guardianship orders in place now to protect them. Because there was some drug issues. There was the fact that she was sleeping around with really bad people, like dangerous people. The kids had witnessed a lot of that, like her being beat up by guys. One of her other children, they believe was molested by somebody. So they're here now, and they actually are doing like so much better than they were, because it was almost like third world country kind of the way that they behaved. They acted like they were never fed. The older one, he's 3. He has some severe food issues. It's not as bad as it was, but he is literally obsessed with food. Like, she even openly admitted to me that she did not feed them regularly. That she basically would buy a gallon of milk and give them a bag of Cheetos, and that was what they would eat every day. And then use most of her food stamps for, she would sell them to somebody and buy drugs with that. So they live here, which was an adjustment for me, going from having 1 kid to having 3. And then at the end of November, the baby was born. But she was born 7 hours away from here, and she was born addicted to methadone. So that took about 6 weeks for her to get weaned off of the methadone and be able to come home. So she didn't come home until mid-January. The baby's now 8 months old, and as far as I know, the kids just live here. There really is no one's trying to see them. No one's trying to get custody or do anything, which is really sad for them. But I'm kind of glad that I was in a position, and at first it was really difficult because I wasn't sure that I could really afford them, but I've kind of had to get a little bit like creative sometimes with getting stuff for them, because when they came, they had nothing. They had no clothes, 1 car seat for the 2 of them, and they both needed one. I was lucky I already had a car seat from my older daughter from when she was little. I actually was about to get rid of it, and luckily I didn't. I had to go to a lot of thrift stores, get all their clothes, but I've been able to make it work, and it's actually been kind of fun having that many kids, as crazy as it may sound. We had to get a bigger car. We had to do a few things different, but I think all of the kids have adjusted really well, and they get along most of the time. They act basically like siblings, so whatever that implies. But that's basically how much stuff is different. Like, most of the stuff that changed was last year. So much changed. In 2011, I actually started my own business, and I've been kind of like off and on doing that, but now I'm getting back into it, and it's actually like grown a little bit. So I may share some stuff about that. We'll see. Before this video, I know I actually posted like a couple videos of the baby. She like started doing this little head nodding thing, and I wanted to post it so like her birth mom could see. But if you want to see the baby, you can see her, or you can hear her since she's like here. But anyways, I'll probably post another video later, maybe if I get around to it. I still have a lot of stuff that I could talk about with the whole losing a baby, PCOS, because I know at one time I felt like I'm never gonna have any kids, and it's just gonna be a miserable old lady with a bunch of cats. So on the flip side, now I have 4 kids. I didn't actually give birth to any of them, but I do have 4 children. So So I no longer feel like I'm never going to have kids, because I have plenty. I actually sometimes feel like I have too many, or at least everyone's like, you're crazy, you have too many kids, like, you shouldn't. I don't know, people have said some really stupid things about taking in the other two, like, oh, that's too much for you, you shouldn't do that, you should give them back or give them to social services, and I just didn't feel like that was the best option for them. And at one point I kind of like was unsure, but after them having been here about a month and a half, I kind of felt like seeing how much they had adjusted and how much they had grown and changed, that would not be a good thing for them. That they had adjusted to being here and being somewhere stable and having, sleeping in the same place every night and actually having a home and a bed and their own space. You know, they have their own dresser and their own stuff, which that kind of stuff seems like little, but when you never had it before and you never had that kind of stability, it's a huge thing. And just seeing the big impact that it made on their life, I felt like I couldn't personally just like, no, go away. I could not do that to them. So instead, we were able to work it out, and I was able to get beds and clothes and get creative and get them all the things that they needed. And so after realizing, okay, you know what, maybe I have more than I thought I had, I was able to make that work out, and I felt comfortable going forward. So instead, I got guardianship, and now they just are here. I hope everybody that watched my video is doing well, and I really appreciate all the positive comments talking about child loss, or even talking about polycystic ovary syndrome is a really difficult thing for me. Like, I really, really hate both topics. They're very difficult for a lot of reasons. And a lot of people say so many different things about a lot of things. People say stupid things about child loss. People say stupid things about polycystic ovary syndrome. And people even say stupid things about adoption, or guardianship, or whatever. And so many people have opinions about the stupidest things when it's none of their business. It's really not. And I've dealt with so much of that. It's like, I feel like I've changed since I made my previous video so much, because now I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know. Before, I would let it get to me and be like, oh, you know, maybe they're right. Like, I would still feel how I felt, but kind of question it. Now I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, if you feel that way, then just don't talk to me, because I don't care. Which I guess in some ways, when you go through something like that, you almost have to develop, like, thicker skin. You have to preserve the way that you feel and the way that you think and protect yourself in a sense. So, anyways, that's all. I will talk to you later. Bye.